what do we mean by kingdom dream and what is kingdom specifically? Now, I'm going to go through this from a slightly different perspective. That when you talk about the kingdom, invariably you're referring to or you're alluding to the presence of a king. Now, there can be no king without a kingdom, and there can be no kingdom without a king. A king must have territory that he rules over. Um, and if I talk about United Kingdom, for example, where we have our Majesty, the Queen Elizabeth II, you would note that we're talking about a kingdom invariably, and of course, the monarch over that kingdom. But specifically, when we talk about the kingdom of God or the kingdom of heaven, we're referring to God Himself being the king over His own kingdom. And scripturally, which is our reference, we know that God rules or occupies the territory of heaven. Now that's clear to as many people that have a similar background as I do. You know, that is very clear. Um, but the thing is that you would observe that every kingdom, as we know in history, they tend to seek territory. And that's natural to kingdoms because you need to, as it were, resource the kingdom of the empire. So that's a necessary economic, political, and cultural necessity for kingdoms to expand territory. Now, can I suggest that in the context of God's kingdom, that's not different. Every king seeks territory. In fact, territory is actually the glory of kings or kingdoms. So, but let me just quickly suggest some terms here, which I would refer to as we go on. That a king is the primary authority and the absolute power in a kingdom. Now, a king is not someone you vote for. A king is born so and exercises his right and his prerogative as the absolute authority on the territory that he or she governs. Now, when I say a king, I'm also saying a queen, in that context. So, a king has absolute authority over the territory, and the totality of the territory is what you refer to as kingdom. Now, of course, in our human experience, you know that the kingdom we have the king's subjects, if you like, who are the people that the king is actually ruling over. Now, in the context of God's kingdom, we're saying that God owning the territory of heaven and expanding and extending that influence or rule to earth. Now, this is primarily what God does, and in his bid to also extend that territory, he decided to place man on earth. All right, I'm not a theologian, so I'm not going to be theologically astute. No, that's not my objective today. But I'm getting at something. I want to see how this relates to living the kingdom dream through the power of vision. So, man is invariably God's agency on earth to implement God's mandate, God's, if you like, kingdom rule on earth. Now, if you look back in history, especially in Roman times, you would notice that when Caesar extends his rule over different territory, and you would remember that reign came as far as Europe, In fact, as far as United Kingdom, what we now know to be United Kingdom, I think it was called Britannia at that time, you will know that that rule extended to Northern Africa, to Europe as far as Hadrian Wall, and some other parts of Europe. And in fact, all of the known earth at the time, India and the rest of them. Okay, now, but Caesar can only be in one place at a time. So Caesar would place his agencies or his governors on each of those territories, and in different smaller territories, to administrate those territories on behalf of Caesar. Okay, now the same way God places man on earth to administrate his government on earth. So everything that the governors do for Caesar is just as part of the wider administration of territories on behalf of Caesar, the king, and the kingdom. So Caesar effectively is the government, and all of the governors that he places on territories are also government. They are local governments in those territories. Now, so you will see that the king does not need to be present in a territory to govern it, as long as the king has an agency, has a representative, or has a governor to look after that territory. In the same way, God the king, in quote, or God the king, absolutely without any quote, as a matter of fact, does not need to be present physically, as it were, on earth to govern the earth. Hence, the deployment of Adam, the first man, as we know scripturally, to be on earth, to govern earth territory on behalf of God's government or God's kingdom. Okay, these are just foundational things that I feel we need to talk about as we go on this. So you can say that man, that is all of humanity, male or female, are simply, or by and large, representative of God's government or God's agenda or God's interest on earth. So man, when I say man now, I'm using that loose word just to represent humanity. So all of humanity that was trapped inside one man Adam is just representing God's interest or God's agency or God's government on earth. So effectively, Adam was God's local government on earth. Now, there is something that excites me when I talk about this. In our various countries, you would notice that there are in the political in the way politics is played out, or how representative government is played out. You would notice that sometimes you would have the senators, you have the members of the House of Representatives, and you would have ambassadors and other governmental agencies. But you would agree with me that of all this, the ambassadors seem to stand apart. Of course, the president or the prime minister would represent the entire country. But the ambassador also represents the entire country to another nation or to another territory. So the ambassador actually comes alive once he is deployed in his own territory. So case in point, the ambassador to United States, the ambassador of United Kingdom to United States, actually comes fully alive, comes into his proper role once he is in his domain, which is in United States. So he's in his embassy representing not a constituency, not a part of the country, but the whole country and the whole government in the United States. So if the ambassador of UK to US says anything publicly and officially, is representing the voice of the government of the United Kingdom in the United States. So the ambassador, therefore, is government, is the government in the foreign territory. So if you want to get a visa, you don't need to travel to United Kingdom to get the visa of UK, from the United States. All you need to do is go to the local government there, the local embassy. That is why people say that once you come into the embassy, you have stepped on foreign soil. So you are on foreign land. Once you step into an embassy, you are in the country itself. Now, this is so important because now we can begin to conceptualize what Adam actually stood for. Adam being God's representative, now ambassador of God's kingdom on earth, was simply God's government, God's agency, fully representative on earth. And as you would imagine, the assignment of an ambassador is to represent his or her government. So the ambassador is not on the territory to do his own business. The ambassador is there to do the state's business. Is ambassador plenipotentiary and extraordinary, is there to do the government's mandate on that territory. So man's purpose, all of humanity's purpose, as a matter of fact, on earth, is to implement the king's mandate, or the king's rule, the king's agenda on earth. This foundation is crucial, is important, and is fundamental to all of tonight's discourse. Man's purpose on earth is to implement the king's rule on earth. So the man, or human, all of human, as conceived originally in the mind of God, was to represent the country of God, to represent the government, and to represent the culture of God on earth. Okay, if I bring this home, if you want to know about, say, Japan in United Kingdom, all you need to do is to go to the embassy of Japan. You will see all of the emblems, the relics, the notations, the languages, the sign, the documents, artifacts, and everything that will give you a view of Japan right inside the United Kingdom. So you don't need to go to Japan to actually see what Japan looks like. Just being in the embassy gives you a foretaste or an actual taste of what Japan is. In fact, the cuisine of Japan will be served you right inside that place, because you are on a foreign land as soon as you are in that embassy. Now, the ambassador is the head of government over the embassy, is the first citizen in an embassy. And all of the ambassador's mission, mandate, interest, focus, objective is to represent his government. Now, one of the things that I find out when we talk about kingdom concept is that people say, this is not so practical. Tell me how we can make this, practical, how we can use this on the day-to-day. But then I also know that you cannot explain an idea properly without teaching the concept of it, because the concept help us to actually put it in the right perspective, help us to actually communicate it and understand it. So what we are doing now is, as it were, to wrap the concept with, if you like, practical applications as we go along. So dominating the earth, or earth dominion, earth governance, and earth management is actually the duty of all of mankind represented in Adam. So you can say that management of earth, or governance of earth, or earth dominion, is actually man's core mission. Now, there are subtle ways, or there are practical ways in which this play out. Do you know that every home in the United Kingdom would have a recycle bin? And the whole essence of that recycle bin is to say, look, let's try and preserve the earth. Let's try and reuse the resources on earth so that we don't deplete it and we are totally out of it. So you can see that the actual assignment, or if you like, the need to preserve the earth and the duty to manage earth resources is actually every citizen's responsibility. So if you're in the United Kingdom, you know that you would have to do that. You would put your bottles, your glasses in a separate bin for collection and reuse. This is taught to students as early as primary school, and you see it play out. In fact, if you create a product and you can demonstrate that that product is actually reusable, that you've sourced the materials in a sustainable fashion, that the product seems to gain a kind of value that it wouldn't have otherwise. So you can see that in a sense, there is a recognition that the duty to look after our earth, our planet, is all of our mission. So it's a core mission. That word commission is where you have the word commission from. And I explain commission as corporate mission, which is everyone is meant to do this. Everyone is involved in it. Okay, now if everyone is involved in that, just that simple recycling exercise, then imagine that, or try to escalate that to see that everyone actually is responsible for earth welfare. Now, the good thing is the earth can take care of itself, and we all know that. And we've seen, sometimes in a very tragic way that the earth does say, "Hey, I can look after myself." But I'm just trying to put this in context. We are responsible for the use of the resources of earth. Now, that is not something that we just stumbled on in our modern day. That's always been our responsibility. It was a responsibility that was given to Adam. Now, so you can tell that if the earth will be well administered, well governed, it rests on all of mankind. So man is responsible and therefore has a leadership mandate, a governing mandate on earth. Now, I'm going to go back to the whole concept of ambassadorship. Now, you would notice that an ambassador must continue to relate to his or her government as long as he is representing the government. You cannot have an ambassador that goes into a foreign land and say, fantastic, now let's try and explore this land, let's try and do some business, let's try and make some quick deals. No, that ambassador will be recalled immediately. So an ambassador in service must continue to relate to his government as a prerequisite and qualification for representation. So we can say that God's man or God's mankind must continue to relate to his king, that is the God himself, in order to represent him. You cannot represent any government that you don't relate to. You cannot you cannot represent any organization you don't relate to. So you will see that some companies will have uh, ambassadors. You have product ambassadors. What you're saying is this individual knows our product, is representing it, is our face as far as this product is concerned, and it embodies the the whole idea that we're trying to represent in this product. Now, it's not just this. Every ambassador also is unique because, as you would realize, or as you know, ambassadors are sent to different territories. So you can have one country and just one country, but you have multitudes of ambassadors. You have as many ambassadors as you need to represent the country. So all of the members of the diplomatic corps are actually representatives of the country. That's why they have a different passport. And when they go through, the borders, that is a member of the government going through that border. So you have many representatives, but you have just one country. So the duty of representation can be shared by a number of individuals, not just one, even though you are talking about just one country and just one government. But each ambassador is unique in his assignment for the government. Because, I mean, as a minimum, each representative ambassador is going to different territory. So, and each country, each mission that you're representing is unique in its own right, in every way. So, the mission of every ambassador is unique, even though there is a relationship in all of those missions. Every one of those mission is to represent the country, but how that plays out is unique. How that transpires in day to day and in relation to the government you are relating, I mean, interfacing with is different. Now, an ambassador's unique governmental assignment is his purpose on earth. So, if you and I see ourselves as ambassadors of God's kingdom on earth, then we can understand that we have unique mandates, unique purposes on earth. Of course, members of a diplomatic corps would have a common purpose, right? So all of the entourage, the diplomatic corps from Germany to United Kingdom, all of them have one overarching objective to represent Germany to UK. But in that whole body of ambassadors, you have different and unique assignments, different skills, different giftings, different abilities, different interlocutory assignments. Now, I'm getting at something, and I'm sure you can almost prehend where I'm heading to. That every ambassador has a mission, and that mission is unique to the individual representative of the government. However, it is not every ambassador that may be true to his mission, which is why sometimes ambassadors are recalled. So, if we apply this to kingdom citizenship, and by the way, do you actually see that you cannot represent a government that you are not related to by citizenship? So citizenship is a fundamental prerequisite to representing the government. An ambassador is first and foremost a citizen of that government or of that country, and therefore it can be an I can be a representative official of the government of that country. Okay, now in the context of the kingdom, even though we all are ambassadors, we may not all be actually uh, executing the mission of our government on earth. But where we want to be is to be in a position where the execution or the implementation of our governmental mandate is what fully occupies us. Can I say this, that everything that a man does or a woman does outside of doing his ambassadorial duty is a preoccupation, or maybe I should use this word, is other occupation, is some other occupation, not the actual one that the person should be involved in. It might be useful for me to also clarify things a bit here, because when I talk about the core mission or the general mission that every ambassador is involved in, can you picture for a minute that there are some of these uh, members of the diplomatic corps that will be in the office, and they will be uh, I mean, like liaison businesses. They would interact with the public. There are some of them that don't get involved with the public at all. They're just maintaining the internal operations of the embassy and the mission. And some of them are interfacing directly with other governments. Some of them are they're in business, so they're dealing with business matters. Some of them are dealing with defense matters. So you have various, in fact, you have all of the departments or most of the departments that you have in the actual nation in an embassy, depending on what is needed. So an embassy is able to respond locally in a foreign mission to what the government that they're uh, interfacing with needs before they need to recourse to the home country. So you can tell that therefore there are various things that each representative is doing, but all for the same big mission. So the big picture stays the same, but the unique representation differs. And this further highlights the place of there's the corporate purpose, but then there's the personal purpose. Now, it is not the corporate purpose that makes a representative vital to the whole mission. It is the unique purpose, the unique contribution of each member of the diplomatic corps that makes them relevant and vital to the mission. I think I should say that again. It is your unique contribution in the core mission or co-mission that makes you relevant and vital to the mission of the whole mission, or to the entire mission of uh, the the government, or representing the government of God on earth. So the question will be, what do you think your own unique contribution is? We're just about midway into this discourse, and we're going to start really seeing the meat of the whole thing. So how does a man, a woman, a representative of God's government, execute the corporate mandate on earth? Now, Man's purpose is conceived through the vision of the purpose. In other words, vision is the offspring of purpose. You see your purpose through the visions, or let me use this word, the imagination of the purpose that comes to heart or to mind. Saying this, there are schools of thought that believe that your vision has to be some esoteric vision coming from yonder, coming to the person in a dramatic sense. Can I say that vision does not have to be dramatic? In fact, probably there's nothing dramatic to it, because purpose is trapped inside every individual. And right from birth, the purpose begins to speak out. It speaks out in various ways through the things that we begin to imagine right from childhood, through the things that we begin to desire, through a passion, the things that, in fact, through our wiring is intrinsic to it. And sometimes I think it is human beings that complicate this the most. If you ask a horse what it thinks its purpose is, a horse doesn't need to really bother. He knows, right, I am strong and I can run. Okay, then let's go and let's run. I'm strong, so I can bear some weight and I can really tough it out. So a horse knows exactly what to do when it's in battle. If you ask a lion what the thing his purpose is, he looks at his claws, at his canines, and I think, well, and he looks at his athletic build, say, well, let's go at some game here. So all of them seem to know what to do. Even a fish knows exactly what to do. It looks at his fins, tails, everything. Well, this is built to swim, and it just swims. In fact, a fish finds itself in no other place but inside water. So it knows exactly what its environment should be, and it knows exactly what to do with its build. Where I'm going is this: you and I don't need to wonder about what our purpose is. All of our history, all of our passion, all of the demands on our life so far are hinting at your purpose and my purpose. Everything, everything. In fact, all of the failures, all the things that you actually tried and failed at, all the things you are afraid to initiate, all the things that you do and you overlook, all the things that you do and got you, going, you get so excited about it, everything together, they actually are talking to you and saying, look at me, you're ignoring me, But we know something that, now those are personal to each person, but we see the big picture, that the big picture is we're representing a government on earth. But how do you represent that government? How do you become effective in representing that government? It is through envisioning the use of all that you are and all that you have in the service of your government, in the service of your king. I'm trying to keep this as simple as I can. You actually begin to fulfill your purpose through the envisioning envisioning the use of your giftings, through the envisioning of your gifting. Okay, if you are a typist, right, and you work for an embassy, well, and you can do 150 words per hour, guess what? Your job in that embassy is to do all of the typing for them, to do all the publication and get all of their documentation ready for the government and for the mission that you're representing. So your vision is a picture of your purpose. Now the purpose does not change. Even the passing of years does not change purpose. So 2017 will not change your purpose. Your purpose is permanent. It's always there. Now, how you see your purpose would change with passing of time, with the passage of time, and with the implementation of your vision. As you do it, as you begin to envision what you are meant to do and begin to do it, that's when you begin to see more and more and more and more. Like someone who is traveling and you're seeing uh, horizons, you're seeing mirages right there, and you're going and you're seeing new horizons and new horizons and new horizons. So, vision is the way to actually capture your purpose. So, because vision is a time specific picture of your purpose. And sometimes God will make you see the big picture. When you see the end, it's more like you're almost taken to the end of your purpose. You see, all right, this is what I'm meant to do. And it looks lofty, it looks daunting, it looks intimidating. That is because you need to keep relating, keep affixed to your government to fulfill the mandate. There is no one individual who can fulfill the mission of an embassy or the whole assignment of a mission in a foreign territory. No, no one individual can. So you continually need the support of your government to keep on, backing you up to do what you need to do. So you fulfill your mandate, your purpose, through the most noble use of your gift, which is actually using it for your government, for the government's mission. Now, having said that about vision, there's one thing that must be mentioned, because when you see something, it's just a dream. That's why I'm talking about living the dream. It's just a dream. It cannot fulfill itself. What you must do after seeing a picture of your future, which is your vision, is to begin to document a plan to achieve it. Think about it. If you imagine building a skyscraper, the kind that's built in Dubai, that Burj Al Arab Hotel, if you envision that, of course, the first thing you do is to first draw a plan on paper. You don't think about how to pay for it first. No, no. What most people do is to think about how to pay for what they see first. And that, what it does is it makes you get stuck. You become immobile because you are intimidated about it. How do I pay for this? This is going to cost 50 million pounds. I don't even have 50,000 pounds. So how do I pay for it? They say, oh no, just drop it. That is why it's not useful for somebody. That is why you have not received enough courage to initiate the dream in your heart, because you are probably preoccupied with how to pay for it. How to pay for it is not your primary objective. How to plan for it is your primary responsibility. Let me say that again. How to pay for the vision you see is not your primary responsibility. How to plan for it is your primary responsibility. As a matter of fact, when you begin to plan for it, you are already initiating the, the fulfillment of the vision you see. Because the vision you see, first and foremost, is in your imagination, is out there in the air. It's intangible. A plan is what traps it and bring it to the tangible, tangible earth. It brings it into a tangible media or medium, and you can now see what you saw. That's why people say that um, the eyes. Now, let me put this in another way. Sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. So the heart sees the vision, but the eye see the plan. So your responsibility is to make your eyes see the vision that is captured in your heart. Your eyes must see the plan that represents the vision that your heart envisioned. I'm not sure how to say that any clearer than that, but I'm sure you get the point. Through a plan. Now, let's get back to the elephant in the room. Who pays for it? How will it be paid for? Well, as I said, that's not your primary responsibility. Of course, it has to be funded. We are realistic. I mean, we are definitely very realistic. Now, the funding of all of the mission and operation of an embassy or a foreign mission is the responsibility of the government. The government that sends the mission out to a foreign country is the government that pays for it. Now, who is your government? Who is my government? We are on the King's mission. That is why your purpose is not a private matter. Your purpose is the King's assignment delegated to you. So you and I are delegated the King's mandate. We are, let me use this word, delegees. I had that word first. I had that word first from a very lovely man that I met some time ago. You and I are delegees of the government. We are delegated authorities, or if you like, we are representing authorities of the King. So God, the King, pays for the vision. Not only that, God also directs the plan. He pays for the plan and he directs the plan. This is why you want to be sure that the purpose that you are investing your time into is not something that you crafted for yourself. It is mandatory that you are sure that that is your King's mandate. You see, an ambassador does not even have to worry about paying for it because he knows this is not even mine to worry about. Can I say this? And you know it, that the ambassador's entire bill is taken care of by the government. His children's school fees are going to be paid by the government. Everything, food, supplies, all, everything is supplied by the government that has sent him or her on the mission. That is why I would rather be an ambassador than be an MP or a senator. Why? A senator still has to pay for his own way, has to pay for his own thing. But an ambassador does not pay his way. As a matter of fact, ambassadors don't campaign to be ambassadors. They are delegated authorities. That's why in ambassadorial times you confer the government on the ambassador. So the whole government, the whole country is inside the ambassador. Okay. For those who probably understand scriptures, when you hear the kingdom of God is within you, the kingdom of God being the country and what the government and the culture, all of that is inside the ambassador. So when you hear the kingdom of God is within you, what you are actually hearing is the country is in you, the government, the entire government is in you, and the entire culture of that country is inside you. That is an ambassador plenipotentiary and extraordinary. Now, as you begin to now don't forget that purposes are seen in visions. As you begin to go about living the vision, living the dream, fulfilling the vision that you saw, which the king pays for. So even the vision is seen by you, but given by God. You are actually aligning with God's mind concerning that purpose. So the vision you see are they are deposited audiovisual entities. Let me say that again. They are the audiovisuals shown to you by your king. They are planted in your heart. They are trapped pictures in your heart. And as we to see them, you know the next phase of the purpose to fulfill, and you step on it. Now the government pays for it. If we say we need to expand our embassy this year, guess what? The king, but the government pays for it. Now the king, don't forget, is a government. The king is the head of government. So the head of the government pays for it. Now, as we begin to do this, we know that we need people. We know that we need people. What kind of people do we need whilst fulfilling the vision that we see in our hearts? Can I suggest a few of them that I think we need? Do you remember the time when Mary, the mother of Jesus, when she actually had a baby? Imagine what that could be in that culture. Ideally, she should have been stoned to death, because if you're found with a child out of wedlock, well, you should be is severe punishment. So it was a very difficult time, and she couldn't be seen in public. So first, the angel that showed up to her said, "Okay, this is a divine thing. You have a divine baby inside of you. So the purpose is divine. The vision that you see of that purpose is divine. So you can't separate vision from purpose. Vision is a picture of purpose. Now that picture, that purpose that you are carrying is divine. But then the angel now said, now your cousin Elizabeth is also pregnant, and she is now in her third trimester. So one of the people that you need when you're going to accomplish what you would call a divine mandate or your divine assignment is Elizabeth. Elizabeth is one of your associates or one of the people that you have access to currently, who is in our third trimester, somebody who is already advanced in her or his dream. You need that kind of person. As a matter of fact, you want to stay around Elizabeth, because Elizabeth can really help you. Elizabeth provides the comfort and the encouragement that you need to fulfill your vision, because Elizabeth has also been uh, through her morning sickness. Elizabeth knows what it means to throw up in the morning. But now Elizabeth is settled. She's just looking forward to delivery. So you want to be with Elizabeth. Elizabeth will not intimidate you because Elizabeth also is carrying a divine mandate, a divine assignment. So Elizabeth is is a co is a journey mate. You need an Elizabeth. Now, you also need certain other people. Do you remember the time when Moses was given something really intimidating to do? Now, Moses gave every kind of excuse. But ultimately, when he agreed to do it, God also volunteered an information said, and now your brother Aaron is on his way to meet you, is looking for you. And when Aaron sees you, he will be excited. Why? Aaron is a cheerleader. Aaron is talkative, and Moses can talk. You need somebody to talk for your vision. So Aaron will talk for your vision. We advertise a vision. We pronounce a vision. You need an Aaron. But then, in towards the tail end of Moses' assignment, you will notice that, as a matter of fact, you need a lot of people. You need the Basileus, the Aholias, people who are gifted to implement the various phases of that mandate. People who they are members of the diplomatic corps. They know what to do. They know how to translate the intangibles to tangible. They know how to make it happen. And then, of course, you need Joshua's, people who can take that dream, that vision further. They can see into the future. And the thing about Joshua is this: a Joshua knows how to institutionalize the dream. See, Moses did a lot of miracles, but none of them you couldn't really, you can't hit manna for the rest of your life. So you needed to keep a relic of manna to say, once upon a time we ate manna. But Joshua knows how to farm the land, how to say, now let's create an agricultural plantation so that we're not just talking about manna, but we can keep producing food that we eat. Now, very quickly, what must we also do when it comes to handling and really managing the vision that you see? Very quickly, I'm just going to really dump this out. Number one, you must protect the vision that you see from, I'll use this word, destroyers, people who are looking to stop you or sabotage you. You want to protect your vision from Herods. And Herod pretends to like your dream, but all he wants is not just to destroy the dream, but to destroy you, the carrier of the dream. So you want to get away from Herod. Herod is a critical spirit who is attacking you, who's after you as an individual, as the carrier. You want to protect your vision from people who, from detractors, people who diminish you. They are also after you, but they know if they get you, they get a vision. So you want to protect your vision from Tobias and the Tambalites. You also want to protect your vision from good things. Good things are preoccupations that use your time and get your eyes away from doing the right things in line with your vision. So you want to also protect your vision from distractions. Distractions, all distraction is after is not to destroy you, is to preoccupy you, to make you use the time you are giving to work on your vision on some other things that look good but not right for you. And can I say this? You cannot. I mean, those are just all over and all around you. They look good, they keep you busy, they get you so busy, they get you bogged down, and by the time you wake up, all the time is gone. You've been preoccupied successfully. Now we want to protect our vision from those. And of course, maybe just to round up, we must keep speaking their vision. The word speaking, that was one of the first words we saw in Genesis when God said, and God spoke it. Now, spoken it, by the time God finished, it was tired. So spoken it is just, it's not just using our mouth, it's actually just walking it. You must keep walking the vision. You must keep walking it until the phases of the vision are accomplished. Now, in rounding up, let me suggest that it is the vision that actually makes the leader. A true leader does not look for leadership. He only focuses on implementing the vision that is in his heart or in her heart. So you don't become a leader by seeking leadership. The pursuit of vision produces the leader. Leadership actually happens to you. It just happens to you. You don't even know when it happens. But it's people that actually recognizes you as a leader. Not because you are looking for it, but because you are simply fully occupied by your vision. So leadership is not a position that you occupy. It's something that happens to you, happens to us. Well, I think we must stop there. We are definitely out of time. Let me just quickly say thank you to all of our friends. My dear Pastor Dari here, thank you for joining us today. And my friend said, as a matter of fact, our team member said, and Adisha, good to see you as well. And of course, to all of our Facebook community, it's good to see you. We are glad you joined us today. We must stop here because of our time, but we really commend your effort and your continual investment and for always being with us. I think it's I should definitely acknowledge my sister who is right there, all of our friends and leaders in Canada, in the United States, and around the country. We appreciate you and thank you for joining. But until next week, please keep fulfilling the vision in your heart. Sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. God bless you and see you next week.